I heard a lot of things about foiling, about transport, about a lot of things really, and I'm excited because I'm speaking from the side of the sailors. But now I like to see if there is something that we can put on the ground, let's say it, because we can have a case here in Genoa to find if we can make a transport on foiling, reducing costs, reducing pollution, and maybe to be the second, the third, the fourth city to have a public transport on foiling. As you can see, we are squeezed between the sea and the mountain. There is no way to make any more roads or things that create more pollution, but we have a lot of water, a lot of sea, and we have a long port, protected part on the port. Let's see if we can do something, and with the help of Artemis, they made a case and studied the case. Can I ask to everybody to come to the stage, to David, Mario, Edoardo, Vania and Silvia? I think that we can start with what is the foil, and I knew some hours ago that Mario planted the first seed some years ago studying a foil in Genoa. Please, Mario.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's true. I start thinking about a foiling line in Genoa in quite a dramatic event. For a quite a dramatic event, it was the collapse of Morandi Bridge, when basically, let's say, the west side of Genoa was separated by the city center. And at the time, we were working with a company, even now, that was developing an electric water taxi for Paris. And we launched the boat a few months before this event. And so our idea was to start talking with the local administration and to see if it was possible to use these boats for basically for connecting the Genoa airport to the city center. Well, things at the end didn't happen, but for sure was for me the moment when I realized that something was possible to do, also because of the geography of Genoa. So it's a very slim city with, let's say, an harbor. And of course, having the possibility to have foiling boats sailing in calm water inside the harbor, for sure was something that was very, say, interesting. Well, we have been working on many other projects since then, but of course, I mean, we know that the idea of developing ferry, eco-sustainable foiling is something that is very, is very appealing at the moment. These are the two boats that I was suggesting to the authority to use for this line between airport and city center, is the Sea Bubble. The good thing of this kind of boat, of course, is that they are electric. And in particular for Paris, they were meant to design to produce a very low washing, so very small waves in order not to affect the banks of the river. Jumping from a topic to another, maybe I want to show the formula, but it will be interesting. But of course, when we are, let's say, try to understand how to change a typical, let's say, transportation with another kind of transportation, normally what we look at is this graph, that is very old graph, from school von Karman Gabrielli graph, but basically is ranking very different vessels from supertanker to helicopter to airplane in terms of speed and in terms of efficiency. I mean, again, without going too much in the details, but in the x-axis we have the speed, and in y-axis we have a power, a specific power. So it's a kind of metric for the efficiency of a system. If we are low, we are very efficient. If we are high, we are not efficient. Okay, the important thing is that in this graph there is a very well-known zone that is this triangle gap where only, let's say, land vehicles stay. And at the moment we haven't found a marine vessel that can fit in that region. You see the circle on the top left, more or less is where foiling boats are. So, and is right at the corner of this triangle. So this graph is saying that the reality is that to be fast, to stay on the right, and to be efficient, to stay low, we should use trains, or so rail, or cars. If we want to be super efficient, we have to be, let's say, on the bottom where we have a super tanker that is also very slow, okay? To enter in that triangle with a foiling boat is still difficult, so we have to increase the efficiency. It is difficult to, let's say, move on the right because we have a line, you see, 100 in the bottom, 100 kilometers per hour is 50 knots, is a limit for foiling boats due to cavitation, that is a fluid dynamic phenomenon. What is not shown here, if we are talking, if we want to compare a foiling ferry with a car, is the traffic jam, the traffic, okay? So this is a very ideal. The good thing is that on water, we normally don't have too much traffic, while my experience yesterday coming here is that en route, there is congestion. So very open. I mean, I still believe that, especially in a city like Genoa, we can carry this technology and be efficient. Last thing is this. One thing is to sail inside the harbor where the water is flat, and another thing is if we are sailing in open water, so outside the harbor. It's something that is, was coming to my mind this morning. I mean, we are talking of foiling boat as a new technology, then we say that is 100-year-old, then we say that we want to develop ferry. Well, I mean, ferry already existed in late 50, where this kind of ferry, like the Supramar, the Rodriguez, they still are in use in lakes or, I mean, to connect island to land. The big difference to me is that, especially with the technology of a control system, we are being able to move the foil, so the wing, basically, from the free surface, like you see here, so this is a typical surface piercing foil, to down below the water. And this makes the boat unstable, but now with a control system, with electronic, like for an airplane, we can deal with this problem now. And so we are not obliged to have a problem like this in waves, but to have a smooth riding even in a sea state. So that is my random thoughts about this subject. And yeah.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you very much. And it's interesting to understand better and to know better. And here we have also Edo Bianchi that can say some words, because if Mario is the designer, Edo can be the producer. Means that here is in Sangiorgio Marine, the fantastic boatyard. incredible, but I'm Genoese. Lance, please speak you because...
So thank you everyone to be here. Thank you, Luca. And thank you to the following organization to decide to come in my city. So I'm from Genova. And as Luca anticipated before, Genova is a super nice city, but I have a big issue that we are very, very, very constrained between the mountain and the sea. And this is a problem that we are living every day. And one of my dreams from when I was young is why instead taking my scooter, I don't go from the center to Nervi or to the other side of the city with a boat. So it's something that now finally is happening, I think, because we have the technology, we have the boatyard, so I have a boatyard in Genoa. Having falling boat or building this kind of boat and technology, it means that you cannot have only the boat and not the service or the assistant. So what we already have also here in Genoa is a boatyard that is able to build and test and sail and repair falling boat. Actually, we have the Blue Game boat, the HSV for American Magic, that is doing the sea trial now. And we are testing the boat every day here in Genoa, and the boat is full built here in Genoa. And so that's, I think, it will be help the system and the falling boat to start growing in Genoa and in this city. I have a few. So from racing to commercial, that's true. That I think. What America's Cup is doing is impressive, and the decision to push every team to have this support vessel inside of the class rule, I think is something that is a genius, because they push every team, they push the maximum of the technology that exists in the America's Cup to be transferred in a motorboat, and with very, very high performance. So the class rule, we have three very, very challenging. That is, the boat will be 100% green with hydrogen. So we push to have hydrogen inside of the boat. Should be falling. So we have all the falling system inside of the boat, and it will have a top speed of 50 knots. So these 3 points already make this challenge very, very high. And my yard, so Sangiorgio with Blue Game, decide to challenge this game, and we decide to design and build this boat. Another very important thing is that for making this project, we need the boatyard, but we need more than the boatyard, also the head. So part of the key designer of this boat are here. One is Mario, and the other are around here. So we have full control system here, the engineering for the composite here. So I think that is very important, because also in Italy we have all of the skills to make this boat running properly. Genoa, so as I was explaining before, and I hope you will have the time, as the manager say, to visit Genova, because it's an amazing city, especially because this is a good thing, because by walk you can visit, you can be from the mountain to the sea in a very short time, because we are very, very compressed, and that is super nice, but we are very extending in long, so that is the worst things. So be here is a part of the old town, we can say, because by walk you are in the old town, and you can be in the center of Genoa, so it's very nice, but you will see how much compressed we are, and the challenge to have this kind of mobility for Genoa, I think, is something that will be really the future for this kind of city, and not only for this city, because Barcelona have a similar layout, Marseille have a similar layout. So I think we are the most compressed one, but there are a lot of other cities that can replicate something that I'm dreaming happening here. I have This is the HSV, the project that is being full built here in Genova, and I'll show you a little bit of the design of of video of the launching of the boat that happened just 3 minutes far from here by walk, and we are testing here inside of the city. So this will be a good test also for the city, I think, for see how this kind of mobility can work in the city. I hope we start. Yes. So I don't want to lose much time because I know that we went very long with the Congress, and so thank you again to be here, and we really need all the skill of the people that are here for pushing to move forward the falling world, because should go more and more inside of all the mobility, and I hope Genoa will be one of the cities that will trust on this technology.
Thank you, Edo. Yes, we were speaking about 50 knots boats. Maybe on the harbor we need only a 30 knots boat. That's maybe it's quite enough. And
we will need to change some rules.
Yes. I like if Vania can tell us what is now the connection between Pegli and Porto Antico. It's more or less 6.5 miles.
Yes, correct.
Already served by the company that is taking care about the mobility in Genoa.
Yes.
And they have to solve, let me say, to make this connection much more better. David made a study. Now I like to know something about the needs, then David can answer.
Okay. Thank you for invitation. Good afternoon to everyone. Our services is called Navebus. Of course, it's a traditional service. So we have a boat that can link the Porto Antico, so the center of Genoa, with Pegli, and is about 6.5 nautical miles. So at the moment we have 8 trips during the week and 6 trips during the weekend. Is a traditional boat, so compare what you show. Of course, there is no comparison. It's difficult, but is a boat in which we can have 350 seats. But at the moment, of course, is not only the trips are crowded, of course. The Navebus is a transport public, is a public transport service. So is used from the people to move from the west to the center of Genoa. We have the trip is inside the port, and the last part is outside the port, and of course this could be a problem when there is a bad sea condition, of course, because we have difficulty to arrive to the dock. However, of course, is very beautiful, interesting to know if there is a study to change, probably, if possible, this type of services, and to create also a service more comfortable, if I understand correctly your your explanation, and I think that could be also important also for us to change the type of the boat, because of course also AMT, that is the city that deal the public transport in the metropolitan area of Genoa, changing in the electric way, and so could be in this way that we can go. How can I say? I think it is more interesting at the moment to understand it, to listen what's the project.
Yes, thank you, Vania. It's I understood there are 60.5 miles to be done, and this is the shorter part.
Yes,
but
very
the
short.
study has been made on this shorter route, but can be enlarged to Arenzano, to Sesti Levante, and 40, 30, 40, 50 miles that already has been made by touristic boats that are quite a lot during the summer. And I think that David can give us an idea of what it can be done, and I think that it can be the first step to merge the needs and the solution. Let's give the kickoff of this to make Genoa one of the 3-4 cities all over the world having a sea transport in a blue way. It's no pollution, fast, comfortable, and really good in short time and not in the jam of the city. Please, give us the idea. No, sorry, give us the solution.
I think to be in the top 5, you're going to need to move very, very fast. So we'll see what we can do there. Good afternoon, everyone. Delighted to be here, and thank you again for the foiling organisation, to Luca for inviting me. Been meaning to come for the foiling awards for a few years, so it's great to finally make it. So Artemis Technologies, we're a spin-off from the Artemis Racing America's Cup Challenge. So myself, I was working for the team in San Francisco in 2013, and then rolling through to the 35th America's Cup Challenge in Bermuda. I'm really fortunate to have a front seat of the development of the modern foiling technology, as Mario talked about. And when we were racing training in Bermuda, racing around, it was amazing. These incredible boats were going four times the speed of the wind, and I wasn't one of the sailors. I was on the support boat all the time, so it was always interesting when the sailors would be flying around all day, coming in off the water, feeling absolutely flying because they'd been gliding across the waves, and then all of us in the chase boat getting bashed around for hours and hours in a day would come in and be absolutely broken. So we knew then that foiling technology could have wider application than just trying to win this boat race. And then we thought, when we put our minds to see, well, actually, where should we focus? And we took the decision to focus on commercial transport, because as a business, we really wanted to deliver an impact and to decarbonise operations that are needed. Lifeline services or operations to move people in cities like Genoa. Also, crew transfer vessels, getting technicians out to offshore wind farms and things. So that was really our target. And the challenge with that is that there's significant rules and challenges around regulatory aspects and certification. But also these vessels, particularly offshore wind farm CTVs, operate in the North Sea in pretty challenging sea states. So being able to optimize the flight control systems, I think that really is the driver that's moved things and really changed the dial on this. Yeah, so that's our Artemis EF24 passenger ferry that we've been developing for 4 years now. We're really fortunate to be awarded £33 million by the UK government. And it was interesting listening to the panel session before about what's going to change the dial. And I think it's necessary. We need support from government. We need funding for innovation. And now we need funding to support demonstrations of this new technology, because as Christoph was talking about, we need to prove that these solutions are robust, they're reliable. We are bringing technologies from the aerospace sectors, from automotive, electric drivetrains, high voltage battery systems. And for operators like yourself, you provide a public service and you need to know that the technology is going to work and it's going to be reliable. So, yeah, this is our e-foiler system. It combines a number of different technologies, obviously the hydrofoils, electric drivetrain. Our drivetrain is actually integrated into the foil itself, so there's a direct drive onto the propeller. We developed our own drive system, we've developed our own high voltage battery systems too. So we've been on quite a journey really over the last few years. As a stepping stone, we developed our EF12 workboat range. It was really a way to learn, to develop our e-foiler technology and test it on a smaller platform. On here you'll see Pioneer there on the left-hand side, Seahorse on the right-hand side, which is the exact same boat, exact same hull shape, but with 2 gasoline outboards. Yeah, it's pretty, you can see the difference in terms of ride comfort. It's a far more enjoyable experience on Pioneer. We've taken those 2.5 years to validate the performance of that vessel. We have wave buoys out on the water whenever we're testing it. We're getting that sea state data. We're measuring the efficiency of the system. We're measuring weight creation. We're measuring the accelerations of the people on board. And so we've been building up this knowledge base, both in terms of validating the business case, the operational benefits and the environmental benefits, but also understanding the robustness of the systems too, which is critical and important. What I'm really excited to say is that we're moving from concept to reality with the first ferry. It's currently in build at the moment. There's a picture there of the hulls being infused. That was from probably 6 weeks or so ago. So we've just infused the superstructure as well. That boat will be launching later this year in Q3. And the first vessel will be operating on a pilot route between Bangor and Belfast in Northern Ireland, which is around 12 nautical miles. And the boat's going to be operated by Condor Ferries, who are a commercial operator operating between France and the UK and the Channel Islands there. So whenever we talk to customers, we have our own business simulation tool which can analyse a route, and we will compare basically the business case of our vessel versus a displacement electric catamaran and a standard diesel fast cat as well. So we looked at this initial route. Within this analysis, we really looked at what was the optimum, or how many journeys could we potentially do with our vessel, and using our MCS megawatt charging system too. So one charger there, on one side. We were able to do 26 journeys, so 13 return journeys, operating at 30 knots. We're able to do that crossing in 15 minutes, which would be certainly quicker than getting here and getting stuck in the traffic. And doing all those journeys, I think it's about 182 nautical miles a day, and that's really the critical number when you're looking at the business case of electric foiling craft versus a standard diesel. There's a capital investment on the technology. It is more expensive to buy one of our ferries, but what you pay up front, you save significantly on the operational costs, both in terms of the fuel savings, the service and maintenance costs, and that is really down to the number of miles you do. So the more miles you do, the bigger the saving. So whenever we do this analysis as well, we also look at the charge cycle, making sure that we have enough time and we're able to meet the required duty profile. So this just basically shows operating from 6 a.m. in the morning to around, I think, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, going from A to B. And so that solid green line at the top, that's the health of the battery at the start of life. And then the dashed line is actually the health of the battery at end of life. So we're able to give you a full profile of how the boat is going to handle the duty cycle, and then what the charging system is required, what amount of energy, and importantly, when you need to replace your batteries. So at the end of all of that, we're able to produce this chart which gives the total cost of ownership. This is over 15 years of a diesel boat versus an electric cat, and then our e-foiler boat on the right-hand side. The kind of blue block there is a combination of the capex on the vessel, the service and maintenance costs, and then the cost of the replacement batteries over the lifetime. And then that's, some of that information is commercially sensitive, so I blocked it out for today. But what I did leave was actually the cost of fuel. So the big red one that's the fuel cost of diesel operating at 30 knots on that duty cycle versus the cost of electricity on the right-hand side. Within this business case as well, we estimate that the batteries will need to be replaced every 3 years, but that is built into this case here on the right-hand side. And over that 15-year lifetime, we're looking at saving £16 million. So a significant amount of money. To caveat that amount, what I'd say is that is operating all of those journeys a day. It's a like-for-like comparison operating at 30 knots. But what we're able to do is model, how many journeys you would like to do, look at the demand profile for the optimum number, and then also do a comparison on the current service speed of the diesel comparison. And then we also looked at the longer route too, and this crossing takes 43 minutes. We're able to do it again with one single charger. It's more challenging on the batteries as well. You can see here that by the end of life, it's getting quite tough to be able to service that route, but it is possible. But because you're operating far more miles, I think it's around 242, 250 or so, the saving is even more significant. And again, there you can see the difference in the fuel price. And interestingly, there on the right-hand side, you'll see the e-foiler costs, or the blue box, is far higher. That's because the replacement costs of the batteries are higher because you're doing so many more miles on a daily basis. But that's all something that we can model. And then one thing I think is important to say as well is that £27 million saving over 15 years, that's when you're looking at 0.6 significant wave height, so 0.6 metre HS. If you increase that wave height to 2 metre HS, this is the difference in the fuel savings and the total cost of ownership. So it's really important when you're considering a foiling craft is to understand where it's going to be operate, because if it's operating in flat water, you're going to get a certain benefit. If you're operating in bigger sea states, then you're going to see an even bigger benefit. But for a foiling boat to operate in 2 metre HS and 3 metre HS is incredibly challenging, and really that's what we've been working on over the last few years, is develop an e-foiler system, a drivetrain, a flight control system that's robust, reliable, and is able to operate in those big seas. I whizzed through that, so hopefully you're able to follow.
Thank you so much. And I hope that really this is a kickoff for the two actors, you and the municipality, to start a collaboration and to see in a few years something foiling in the harbor.
Yes, very interesting. Thank you. At the moment, the services of Navebus for us is in concession, so it's not directly organized from MIT, but there is another company, of course. And more interesting, I am not a technician, so I haven't the data about the consumer or other things, but as regards MIT, is more interesting the information about the time that you can have between, for example, Portantico to Pegli, because at the moment we have about 25 minutes to arrive to Pegli, and in your presentation we have 15 minutes, so it's very, very short. And it's incredible, the comfortable. To show how is more pleasure the trip, okay? So is a part very important for us. I think that it is important to to think to extend these services also to the east part and to the west part of the metropolitan city of Genoa. In fact, so the municipality is thinking about that, and I think that your project could be very interesting to propose to the municipality. However, as regards MIT, of course, it should be a dream, I think, or in particular for our client, of course. As I say, it could also, if possible, to have a falling system also for the bus. Why not? Should be fantastic, because, as I say, we have a difficult for the traffic, of course, because Genoa is particular, is very long but very short, and we have not so many streets. So it could be more interesting.
No, and I think this is a really interesting discussion or panel, because I think cities around the world have been looking at how they can reuse their waterways in a better way. If you think back, 150 years, in major cities, the waterways were our motorways. In London in particular, everything was transported on the water, and we kind of went away from that. So, for example, in San Francisco, NYC Ferry there, they went from 0 ferries in 2016 to 38 today. Really trying to decongest road and rail networks and trying to provide increased capacity for public transport whilst populations are growing. And as you said as well, you don't have much space here. It's incredibly challenging to put new roads and rail networks. And by adding in a ferry service, it's the cheapest and quickest way to add that capacity. But the challenge in the past is that the cost of running those ferries is incredibly expensive. So in San Francisco, the cost of the ferry ticket is actually heavily subsidized by the toll that people pay when they use the Bay Bridge and crossing over there. So the benefit of this solution is actually that business case, the challenge with the business case goes away as well, plus the environmental impact, plus the minimum wake and ability to operate at high speed. And also, using ferries really encourages the use of multimodal transport. So it encourages cities and people in communities to get out of their cars and actually to walk, cycle, and use public transport in a better way.
Thank you. I really think that it is, I think it is not a dream. It is something that is going on. It's a different way of view. And I think also that the following organization that is going to have the office here in Genoa can help to have a table to make both together to all of you and the other technicians, let me say it, together to study the case, to solve the case, and to put in progress this, just to have, let's say, Genoa as a good study, a good case, and to find a good solution. I think that we can have really all the block, all the piece of the puzzle to be put together, and Luca can make the table to put together also all the piece of the puzzle that then will show a foiling boat going in, sailing in the Genoa port. Thank you. If anybody has something to, yes, on the back.
Hi, it's a great question for David, a short one. In the energy efficiency, are you banking on the coming increase in the efficiency of batteries? How heavily does the energy density of the batteries play in the efficiency of your ferry?
Yes, it's pretty critical. On the ferry, we've got a max displacement of around 75 tons, and the light ship is about 56 tons, which includes about 18 tons of batteries. We use, it's really down to the battery chemistry. We developed our own NMC battery because it's more power dense, there's more energy per kilogram. We did that because we needed reduced weight and we needed the power. But going down that path means that you do have to replace the batteries more often, so there's compromises. It really depends on your operation. But for foiling boats, we wanted as much energy on board for the lightest weight as possible.
Do you see that improving over the years? Because that could could tip the equation even further in favor of electric propulsion. In 5 years' time, I don't know what the projection of lifetime of the ferries, but in 10 years' time, hopefully battery technology will have moved on, and this technology becomes even more favorable or even more beneficial.
Absolutely. I think the key thing is having the electric propulsion and foiling, so you're as efficient as possible. And then we developed our own battery. We have a technology roadmap. It's not to say that we won't be replacing, or the operator won't be replacing those batteries with something else in the future. I think the steady state batteries and the energy density there, and also the price and the reduction in precious metals could really be quite a game changer. That could open up the door for more non-foiling craft to have improved duty cycles and be able to operate at higher speeds. But for example, in offshore wind farms that are 50 miles offshore, it's really difficult for us to be able to get out there without offshore charging and with the batteries we have today. But if batteries do increase in energy density by 3 times through the implementation of solid state technologies, then that's really exciting for everyone.
Anyone?
Yes, sure. Of course, I've been impressed by your presentation. We have been talking quite a lot of standards on foiling boats during the day, and I noticed that, even in the same company like Artemis, you swap, for example, from a monohull foiling to a catamaran foiling. So my question is, what is the rationale behind? So are you testing different possibility? And in particular, considering this route, when we are exposed to wave, we have side waves, what do you think is the better solution? Or is due to the size of a boat or whatever?
I think the honest truth is that boat that we designed first was really utilising a known design. We really effectively retrofitted our system onto that vessel. The ferry is where we really went from basic principles to design the optimum vessel. With foiling, we really want high aspect ratio, so we want something that is basically quite beamy. And it's really around, as you'll know, you can optimize foils to take off early and you have more surface area, or you can optimize them to be very small and be more efficient at high speeds. So what we tried to do was really optimize the foils on the ferry for that cruising speed of around 32 knots, and that's the design that we came up to. I think certainly a catamaran is probably optimum for sort of, I would say anything over sort of 10, 12 tons. And for us, we have a bit of a roadmap around developing a larger vessel, and that will be a catamaran again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay. And I hope that the kickoff has been done, and we can start with the moving Genoa people along the port. Thank you very much for everybody.